Where'd you hit him with the broom? Like what parts of his
The
body?
head and the neck and the legs, mostly.
Okay, what did he do after you hit him?
He was apologizing.
These are the chilling details of how 69-year-old Donald Streeter was brutally beaten to death in his own home in Riverside, Dayton. However, what you're about to learn is even more disturbing. The killer sitting across from the police, answering their questions, isn't some stranger or intruder. It's Donald's own son, David Streeter. And his reason for taking his father's life only makes this an even more twisted tragedy. It all started on February 9th, 2020, when a chilling 911 call from Nancy K. alerted authorities to a grim scene.
911, what's the address of your emergency?
There's a possible DOA inside of 5422 Robinwood
Okay.
Avenue.
Are you there, or do you know who's here, or why do you think they've passed?
I'm with the wife who just arrived home. Her son is inside, and her son said he thinks his father has passed. She has not gone inside yet. She's afraid to.
Police and medical assistants had already reached by the time the call ended. But when they arrived, they were met with an overwhelming scene. The back door barely opened, and once they managed to squeeze through, they were confronted with 2 feet of garbage covering the entire house. However, the real horror was waiting in the back bedroom. Donald Streeter's lifeless body was lying face up on a mattress, buried in clutter. His mouth was stained with blood, and his body was covered in severe bruises and injuries. Judging by the stiffness of his body, it was clear that he had been dead for hours. After finding the body, officers turned their focus to David. He was standing outside talking with an officer about what happened. There was no panic or signs of distress in his demeanor. And since he wasn't showing any dangerous behavior, he was placed in the back of a patrol car without handcuffs and taken to the station. Once inside, David didn't seem concerned. He remained calm and cooperative, even casually eating the snacks he was given.
All right, David. I'm Detective Abney. You call me Travis. I'd shake your hand, but I've got a cold and I don't want to make you sick, okay? I've got some questions I want to ask you. We're doing an investigation because we're in a police station, okay? I want you to know you have rights. Are you familiar with Miranda rights? Okay. I want to get through those. That doesn't mean you're going to jail or anything like that. I just have some stuff I want to talk to you about, okay?
Yep.
I don't know the whole story of what's going on, and hopefully you can fill in those details for me, okay?
To start off the interview, Detective Abney, the lead detective on the case, kept a friendly attitude. Despite the gravity of the situation, his goal was simple: make David feel comfortable enough to talk. But what Abney didn't realize was that this interview wouldn't just provide answers. It would solve the entire case.
All right, I'm writing down that you're being interviewed in regards to the crimes of a homicide investigation, and I don't want that to scare you. It's just whenever we find a dead body, it gets treated that way. I'm not saying that's what it is, but that's what we're investigating, okay? And I don't want that to freak you out or anything like that, okay? So I'm going to give you that sheet right there and give you a pen. So this is what we're going to do. Before you initial anything, I want you to make sure that you fully understand what I'm reading you, okay? We're going to go line by line.
Since David hadn't asked for a lawyer, Abney wasted no time and jumped straight into questioning.
How old are you?
30.
How tall are you?
6'3".
A lot taller than me. I'm short. I'm only about 5'6". So I'm kind of jealous of tall people. How much do you weigh?
I don't know at this point. 360, I think, somewhere in there.
Okay.
Just guess.
What color's your hair? Is it
Blonde.
blonde?
Blue eyes.
And tell me a little bit about yourself. What hobbies do you have? What do you like to do?
I used to do genealogy.
Genealogy, like
researching my family history.
Your your DNA, like where your family comes from and stuff?
But the more he talked, the stranger things got. Some of the details he shared about his life felt off.
Are you like, are you into like computers and stuff like that? Do you do like do you play video games or anything?
I haven't used a computer in a long time.
When was the last time you used a computer?
2 years ago. 3 years ago. Almost 3 years ago.
Do you have like a laptop or something?
Yeah, but it died and it was taken somewhere and they couldn't recover it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, any pets? Alright. Got a girlfriend or anything?
Mm-hmm.
Are you, do you have any close friends in the area that you stay in touch with?
Not really.
And when the conversation turned to his father, it became obvious that things had never been too great between the two of them.
I'm kind of curious as to what happened. How did the police get called to the house?
Because he stopped breathing yesterday. After we got into it, we've been getting into it for many years.
Are you referring to your dad?
Yeah.
What's your dad's name?
Don.
How old is he?
69.
Abney turned the focus of the discussion back to the day his father died.
You said you got into it. What happened?
We had disagreement. We do a routine all the time and he wasn't following it. And we got angry with each other over it.
Well, tell me about that. What was your routine that he didn't follow?
As in, we always do a routine where we pray together and everything. He didn't follow that.
Okay. So are you religious?
Somewhat, yes.
Are you what is
I was raised Catholic.
Catholic? Okay. Many Catholics in my family also.
Oh.
So you guys, when do you typically pray with each other?
In the morning, and he used to do exercises.
Okay. What did he break his routine for?
I have no idea. And he had a skin infection too and was itching. And I was not happy about that because he said MRSA.
MRSA.
As unbelievable as it sounds, David's explanation for why he brutally attacked his father was only going to get stranger as the interview continued. But before diving into that, Abney needed to piece together every detail of what really happened that day.
So you were in his bedroom. You got mad that he wasn't following the routine, which was to do the morning prayers and
exercises and not to itch and all that.
Mm-hmm. And then you got mad and you just hit him?
Yeah, and then we were hitting each other.
What'd you hit him with?
The broom.
The broom?
Yeah.
What kind of broom? Is it like a wooden broom or a metal?
It's a fuller brush.
Yeah. Okay.
And I wasn't trying to kill him.
Well, I understand.
Let's be honest about that.
Mm-hmm.
And he's threatened to hurt me before.
Yeah.
Many times.
Where'd you hit him with the broom? Like what parts of his body?
The head and the neck and the legs, mostly.
Okay. What did he do after you hit him?
He was apologizing later for all the stuff he had ever done to me.
After you hit him?
Yep.
And what were you doing when he was apologizing?
Not believing him.
Did that make you mad did you feel he was not?
I felt like he was lying because he was saying stuff like he was dreaming about dying and this and that. And that's a true statement. He actually started moving around and weird.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So you hit him in the head, the neck. Did you hit him in the face? And it was all did you hit him with anything else or just the broom? Were you hitting with it with your fist or anything?
Yeah, I think so, yes.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
You did hit him with your fist? All right. Is that how you got those marks on your hand?
Yeah, I think he tried to hurt me too.
Donald Streeter's painful last moments weren't limited to just this. David got mad at him a second time just a few minutes after beating him with the metal broom.
Did you get mad at him again a second time?
Yeah, because he said we didn't, this is the prayer part. The prayer part was the second thing, and the itching of the infection was the first part.
Oh, okay.
And, cause he said he started seeing dead people and praying for dead people. Like he said that he was gonna die. That's basically what he said.
Mm-hmm.
That he saw, that he had a dream, that he was dreaming, and the whole thing, he said, was a dream. The fight was a dream. That's what he said.
Okay. Did that make you mad?
Yeah.
Did you hit him again? And when you hit him again, what'd you hit him with the second time?
This more the fist the second time.
More the fist?
Than the broom thing. They did use it again though. That's being honest.
You did use the broom a second time?
Yeah.
Where'd you hit him the second time?
In the face, I think.
Did he stop breathing after the second time?
He didn't stop breathing right away after that, no.
How long after did he stop breathing?
I have no idea. But he was squirming around and yelling stuff out, and it wasn't to stop or anything. He was yelling out weird stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And he was saying, I don't know what's next. Or what the next step is. I don't know what he was talking about.
However, David had fully rationalized why this had happened. He blamed it on PTSD, something he believed stemmed from his childhood.
It's been going on for a while that we get mad at each other.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew what triggers. I have PTSD.
Okay. What's that from?
My childhood.
Your childhood? What happened in your childhood?
Well, I've been living in a filthy house for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another thing.
Is that another thing that made you angry yesterday?
I think it may have, yes.
But that wasn't all. David also pointed to low blood sugar as a trigger for his behavior.
He wanted me to get him food and water, so I gave him chocolate, because he had low blood sugar. We both had low blood sugar when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when we go off and get angry with each other. We do stupid things like that.
Mm-hmm. Do you think your blood sugar was low and that's why you got mad?
That's contributed to it, yes. Not just being angry.
So you said he asked for some food
and pills.
And after you hit him?
The main event, yes.
Okay.
And I complied and I helped him.
Okay.
And as he was not in very good condition.
When you say wasn't in good condition, what do you mean by that?
He was having low blood sugar and he needed to eat something.
Was he bleeding?
Yeah.
From where?
The head and the hand.
When his father stopped breathing, David claimed that he was powerless to help.
Yeah, and I didn't want to leave him, and I couldn't find, my phone was not with me at the time, or I would have gotten help. And I do not remember all of the CPR techniques that I learned in school either, or I would have done that. I tried breathing on his mouth, and at least once.
Mm-hmm.
And he kept saying he was having trouble breathing. And that he forgave me. Or he was asking me for forgiveness, actually.
Okay. Does he have a phone in his room?
He doesn't use a phone.
He doesn't. Is there a home phone at all?
There used to be. It stopped working.
Oh.
We're dysfunctional.
Oh, okay. A lot of families are, so don't feel bad about that.
Well, it's been going on too long. and we're all mentally unstable because of it.
Now, up until this point, Detective Abney had done an excellent job at keeping a non-threatening tone. Enough for David to spill every detail about the brutal murder. But there was still one question left. What did David do with his father's dead body in the hours that followed?
Day of the week is it, do you know?
Sunday,
So this all happened Saturday?
early Saturday till 10-something in the morning.
Did anything happen like the day before on Friday? Was there any fighting that day too?
There might have been, but it was over the routine too. That's what mostly it's been about, and that he won't be honest, and hasn't been.
This was an entire day before the police would find Donald's stiff body. So Detective Abney urged David to tell more about what happened after his father stopped breathing.
Who do you call for help when there's an emergency?
Doesn't have one, except now.
If you did have an emergency, what number would you dial?
Probably my mom. That's who I called after he stopped breathing.
You did so?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
Because I was able to uncover it was buried in the hallway because it was cleaning up. I didn't have it in my pocket when we were fighting.
So let's go back to that phone call that you made to your mom. He had stopped breathing at that point. What did you tell your mom?
That I think he was dead.
You thought he was dead? Okay. And what did she tell you to do?
To get help, but I didn't want, and I'll tell you why I didn't. I didn't want to be alone without her present, because I felt like I was so scared and I was depressed, and I didn't want to do something behind her back, and that's the truth. I wanted her to be there when I did it because I was scared.
What you say her name is again? Becky?
Yeah.
Becky Streeter.
Other than the fear of facing cops alone without his mother, David had even stranger reasons for not calling for help right away.
So did you tell her you were scared? And
I said and I also needed to clean up a path. That was the other thing.
you needed to clean up a bath?
Path.
Oh, path. Okay.
And I had to wash the stuff off of me too.
When you say this stuff, what are you talking about?
Blood from him and take care of these.
Do you have any injuries anywhere else on your body?
No, just the legs and the hands.
Okay. And then after you got cleaned up and stuff, what did you do the rest of the day?
Cleaned up the hallway and fell asleep. I've been falling asleep, and he said there's something wrong with me and I need to find out what it was. That's what he kept saying. Something's wrong with you. You need to get figured out because you never used to act this way. That's what he said.
Did that make you mad?
Somewhat, yeah, has been. But I've been having headaches. A lot.
David's next action was just as abnormal, something which was quickly becoming a pattern in this case.
So you went to sleep. Where'd you sleep at yesterday?
I've been sleeping in the hallway.
In the hallway?
Yep, because of the dysfunctionality.
Yeah. So, how long did you sleep for?
Till later in the day.
And then what happened? What'd you do when you woke up later in the day yesterday?
I ate and cleaned up more.
Was there a lot of blood?
I didn't try to clean up the blood, except when he was alive. I was just cleaning it off of me afterwards.
Cleaning it off of you, okay.
And not trying to get rid of anything or anything. It was just a mess.
Yeah.
I had open sore, and his blood got on me, and I didn't want to get any germs because he's had MRSA, and that's why I wear gloves, because I have a CD and I don't want to get infected.
Okay.
And he wears gloves all the time too, because of the infection, because he was recovering.
Can I see your hands? I want to take a couple photographs of that if you don't mind.
By this point, it was becoming clear that David had been struggling with mental health issues for a long time. His dependence on his mother, his obsession with following a routine, it all pointed to a deeper issue. He even believed that his PTSD was caused by living in the filth and chaos of their home. But the problems didn't start there. Earlier in the interview, David painted a disturbing picture of his childhood, one that might explain his damaged emotional capacity.
Who would you call for an emergency? What number would you dial if there was an emergency?
Maybe 911.
Okay. Have you ever had to call 911 before?
No, but my mom has.
Okay.
He knocked her down when I was little. He hit her, knocked her on her bottom.
Tell me about that. Did that upset you when that happened?
Well, she called the police. She had it documented. It's probably in the records.
Mm-hmm.
He's been abusive to her and to me my whole life. Verbally, physically, emotionally.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, buddy. That's tough. It's tough on a young person for sure.
And I've had depression and mental illness.
Mm-hmm.
And I had to take medicine for it for a long time, but then it caused side effects where I was getting headaches and a whole bunch of stuff. So I had to stop taking those, and I've been doing pretty good, except until that tornado happened.
Yeah.
Which was right in our front yard practically.
If you wouldn't mind, just take your time, and you've got very nice handwriting. Just tell me, page by page, what happened between you and your dad, okay? And what led to him to stop breathing, and just be honest with me like you were, when you told me. Just kind of, it helps.
Write the date.
Don't worry about those boxes. No, you don't have to do that. We'll fill that out for you. And then at the bottom of each page, I want you to sign it and then put the date, okay? And the date is
the witness one?
Yeah.
The 9th.
The 9th, correct. Yep. All right, you work on that. You take as much time as you need. If you want to eat your food, go ahead. You can eat it now.
Is this like a deposition?
It's just a statement, just like everything you told me. It's just we would like to see it in writing too, if you're willing to do that. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Knock on the door if you need anything. Okay. Thanks.
Despite his calm demeanor throughout the interview, David's confessions, both verbal and written, left no room for doubt. The police had everything that they needed to make an arrest. But David's composure didn't mean that he couldn't snap under pressure, so officers maintained a very polite and friendly tone throughout the process. By the way, if you're finding this video interesting so far, please do us a favor and make sure you hit that like and subscribe button. It really supports the channel. Now, let's dive right back in. With David now in custody, the investigation wasn't over. A lot of what he had told the police still needed to be confirmed. And there was only one person who could provide those answers: his mother. Rebecca Streeter, or Becky, was the closest person to David besides his father. She was questioned on February 9th by Detective Todd, the same day that David was being interrogated in another room. She was with Nancy Kay, the 911 caller, when the call was made.
The husband and wife have not been together lately. She's been with her sister who has ALS.
Okay.
So she's not been here, and
Okay.
it's a strange situation, but
The fact that she had been living away from her family sounds a bit odd, given just how much David depended on her for everyday functions. However, her reason would just add another layer of tragedy surrounding the Streeter family.
What can you tell me happened about, like, when you were called by Dave?
I was on the computer.
Okay.
And I got a phone call, and I'll tell you what time it was. It just said anonymous. And it was received at 10:48 a.m. on Saturday, February the 8th. He was somewhat teary. He said, "Mom, Dad isn't, I think he was breathing, but not." I said, "Then you need to call someone about it." He said, "We had a big fight." But I didn't ask him any more thing. I can tell you how long I was on the phone with him, 1 minute and 38 seconds, because I wanted to get off so he can make the call.
Okay.
Torn between the needs of her son and husband on the one hand, and her sister on the other, Becky had to make a very difficult choice.
You were in Inglewood, right? Yeah. Did you even think about calling us from Inglewood, saying it was there? Just never crossed your mind?
Because I figured they would ask me what happened, and with no information, not being there, what could I tell them? He's the only one that can tell you.
Okay.
Because he was there. I was not there. So I'm focused on getting either stuff taken out of my tote bag to take home and stuff I have to take back to my sister. And I said, I told them they need to work out their problems because I can't have that kind of stress.
Yeah.
I already have enough on my plate and my sister's. That's why I've encouraged them to try to get help, on their own, to get counseling. Yes.
So they really do kind of not get along, is what you're trying to tell me.
She then went on to talk about what happened the next day, the 9th of February, as she came back home.
When I came home Sunday, when I found the back doors, both of them locked, I knew that, I guess already that he was still there, because if not, just one lock would be done. Somebody had to be inside. So I went in. My plan was to get my computer and any related thing with it. And my tax pin, because I told them I was going to do our taxes. I still have a couple of documents out, but I was going to do them at my sister's. She also has a printer we don't have a printer that works. So I was taking everything over. I discovered my son there. And I asked him if he still had not made it. I think he was sleeping or something. He popped awake, and I said, I'll set my stuff and get my stuff out of here, but as soon as I get done, I'm making the call, because somebody has to make the call. And Nancy offered to do it for me. She was sitting next to me. She's the one that called the police.
Nancy was who brought you back to the house. Okay.
Nancy K.
However, there was one detail that made Detective Todd suspicious. When David first called her, Becky wasn't sure if Donald was dead. So, why didn't she call the police herself when she finally found out?
Is there any specific reason or anything that you didn't just call from where you were at to let you were in Inglewood, right? Yeah. Did you even think about calling us from Inglewood, saying it was there? Just never crossed your mind?
Because I figured they would ask me what happened, and with no information, not being there, what could I tell them? He's the only one that can tell you.
Okay.
Because he was there. I was not there. And hindsight's always 20,
No, I'm just trying to get perspective.
And I
okay.
don't want to beat myself, and blame myself.
Her response was enough to satisfy Todd, especially since there was nothing to suggest that Becky had any involvement in Donald's murder. Even so, her interview played a crucial role in piecing together the final moments of Donald's life. More importantly, it helped detectives understand the relationship between David and his father and how it had gotten so bad that such a horrific act could happen.
Have your husband and your son ever had a altercation like this before?
They fight at different times.
Like physically? Argue?
Yeah, and argue. Argue because my husband had ADD and my son ADHD and OCD. I've advised him different times to go get help, try to get a doctor to evaluate them. My son used to be on medication. He had 2 different doctors in the past They both have passed away.
Okay.
Was no longer taking any medication.
What's the worst thing your son's done to your husband in the past?
I don't know, just to,
Like when they fight, I mean.
I usually, if they start yelling, I usually go outside, so I don't.
Go outside.
Sometimes into a car.
Have they ever been, either of them ever been arrested or anything as a result?
No.
Have the police ever been called to the house ever?
One time, a long time ago, I called because our son was on medication at that time, but we had it changed. They were called because he took a chip out of our stove, hit something and took a chip out.
Okay.
And an even longer time back, my husband got mad one time and shoved me, and I fell, and I called him in, and I wanted him to get a warning.
Your husband shoved you?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the only time.
Young boy, 8459 HYB, 8459 Black Hunter, occupied by at least two.
And that's been a while?
Yeah, a long, long time. Years ago.
Okay. But no one was ever arrested for that or anything? Your son was never arrested or anything prior?
They were trying to get him to take some medication, and and once they did that, they left.
Did your husband have any medical issues or anything?
He had heart disease, and heart, and also because he had veins taken out of his leg. He has been susceptible to infections in the past. He was hospitalized a number of years ago at Soin for some kind of infection, and he's been treated with one terrible disease when it started to come back, or not disease, medication that had caused him to have some chest pains in a lying down position. He was so glad to get off of that. Now, I did know he had an infection because I saw peroxide out, and he told me he had a toe infection, and I said, you need to take care of it, because if your infection gets into your veins, it can spread.
Becky also explained how David struggled with simple tasks due to his medical conditions, like placing a grocery order.
He called me a couple times. He sent me out with a list for Kroger's, and I did call back prior to, right after I got there, and told him that I'd gone to the website, and I know that our local Kroger store is a Riverside store. They probably wouldn't have home delivery. I went to the Beaver Creek and specified the Beaver Creek Marketplace and found out they only had pickup service. But I had placed 2 Meyer orders when I got to my sister and had them sent to them. So they had plenty of food. I had called in either when I was at home or when I got with my sister. I called in his meds and had him sent there. So, I was doing that from a distance.
So when he didn't call 911 right away, it wasn't because he didn't want to, but because he felt a compulsion to clean a path through the hoarded mess so that emergency responders could even reach the room.
About a couple hours later, he calls, says he's concerned about getting in trouble. You still
wanted to make sure nobody fell getting back there too, I think.
Yeah.
Because they had knocked all that stuff off in my hall. Because I had boxes that had been labeled in my...
But even knowing her son's condition, Becky was still in shock regarding what had happened, especially since her last interaction with David had been fairly pleasant.
When I left on Tuesday morning, my son packed a little bag of things that he collected that they had bought, and came while I was gone and packed some snacks for me and set them with my bag, and I took them with me.
Are you in a single cell, or what?
I have a cellmate.
Mm-hmm. What's his name?
His last name's Foley.
Mm-hmm.
That guy that hit those children in front of the library is next to my cell. In the next cell over.
Uh-huh.
Remember him? The one that...
No, I'm not sure. I'd have to look at the old papers. How's the food here? Do you get any choices?
It's okay.
Can you make choices, a few choices? Or is it pretty well set?
It's set.
Mm-hmm.
So did they bring it to you, or do you get to go out at all from your cell?
They bring it.
Now, what kind of bed do they provide?
It's a little mattress.
A cot or just on the floor?
It's a mattress thing. It looks like a roll-out thing.
On the floor?
You can fold up.
Uh-huh.
Even during this discussion, David's OCD was noticeable.
Have you had anybody come and talk to you besides Patrolman Travis?
Your hairdresser's husband?
He's the lead detective.
Why did they do that? He has people that know you in his family. I thought that was a conflict.
I haven't seen Kim in several years.
Her mother, though, you knew.
Way back.
She owned the salon before her.
Yeah, way back.
You met him, didn't you?
Not until the other day.
He came over to the car. I saw him in the driveway.
Well, maybe I spoke to him. I spoke to a couple people that day.
He was fixated on Detective Abney's potential conflict of interest, a detail that had no real impact on his situation. Recognizing his condition, David was given access to mental health care professionals.
The mental health people have checked in.
What?
The mental health people checked in.
When did they check in?
Twice, and I haven't been able to go to the bathroom.
Did the mental health people visited you?
Yeah. 2 different people.
Uh-huh.
Or 3. One, they were asking how everything was going.
Mm-hmm.
Have you asked about any medication for your constipation?
They gave me Miralax.
Well, you might want to follow up on that.
I might need a doctor. They have a doctor.
In November of 2020, David ultimately pleaded guilty to involuntary manslaughter in Montgomery County Common Pleas Court. He was sentenced to 11 years in prison, bringing this tragic case to an end. If you think this case was horrific, well, you need to check out my video on the psycho suspect who tried to escape the interrogation room.